first thing I told God, thank you for a son. And I was crying, man. I was crying when my son was born. Kaiser Hospital, Bellflower, June 28th, 1984. My son was born. My son's name is Gerald Alexander. He's Googleable. You can find out everything you want about him, but that's who my son is. He's an NFL coach for the Pittsburgh Steelers right now. He played in the NFL 7
He with
years.
the Steelers or he with the Raiders?
He's with the Steelers this year. He was with the Raiders last year.
Oh, he went back to the Steelers?
Because remember, the Raiders head coach just got fired.
Oh, did he? I didn't know that.
See, he was at the Steelers with Mike Tomlin.
You know, I'm not a big football fan, but I didn't know he left.
He left. Matter of fact, he was at the Dolphins for 2 years under Brian Flores. When the Dolphins fired Brian Flores, he went to the Steelers, stayed with Mike Tomlin for 2 years. Then Antonio Pierce got the job at the Raiders last year, and he left the Steelers to go to the Raiders. Antonio Pierce is his homeboy. And then they fired Antonio Pierce after 1 year, and Mike Tomlin said, bring your ass back over to the Steelers, because he was one of his best coaches.
He started off, he was at Pittsburgh at first, huh?
He was at Miami, then Pittsburgh, then the Raiders. Now he's back at Pittsburgh.
Right. The same position?
Now. Yep, DB coach.
Okay, DB coach. That's my homeboy, Avalon Blue team, Pittsburgh. Love Pittsburgh Steelers, man. Shout out to my homeboy, Avalon Blue.
Well, Raiders were my team.
Love Pittsburgh Steelers, man. But there's a bunch of them love Pittsburgh, but he's one of them.
But you know, like, I want you to tell the story that you told earlier, right?
Which one?
About, like, how you, like, I think it really shows your passion, like, for the homies, right? I think it really shows your passion, right?
Yeah.
Because how you went and tried to gather up all the kids,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying, to put them in the football, right, to get them started, right? Like, that's some history. That's where some
Pop Warner,
right there.
Pop Warner football?
Yeah, well, yeah, Pop Warner. So anyway, I was telling a story earlier in another meeting before we got here. So, like I said,
There's an interview too right here.
My son, the football player, the football coach. But when he was like 5 or 6 years old, it was time, for him to start playing football, playing tackle football. And so at the time, I had just bought my first house in Cerritos. I bought my first house, and it was in Cerritos. It was like early 88, I want to say, 88. How old am I? 88? I'm 22 years old in 88. I bought a house in Cerritos in the suburbs, in the cul-de-sac. You know what I mean? Had a job, was driving trucks, unloading freight, fresh home from YA. You know what I mean? My first job at 18 years old, my brother got me a job at the LAX airport unloading freight, working on the dock, driving a forklift. That's what I was doing. And I was happy as a lark. I don't even know where that term come from, but people always say that, but I was happy as a lark. But anyway, long story short, man, we in Cerritos now. I bought my first house. My son is just turning 7 years old, and we're going to play some tackle football. So we signed up for the Cerritos Hornets football team, Suburban Football League in Cerritos. We get there, and our first year, and I'm on the coaching staff, and it's Suburban. It's 3 black kids and 30 white kids. And mind you, we in the Cerritos Junior All-American, Orange County Junior All-American League, where we playing against other teams, including LA County teams like Long Beach, Paramount, Compton, Inglewood. You know what I mean? So we had some black chapters. We had some black chapters in.
But y'all sorry as hell.
Man, we was 0-9 the first year. Everybody came to Cerritos. That was an automatic W. We're going to play Cerritos? They sorry.
Man, you know the team going to be
They
leaking.
sorry. And so I didn't know this till I got there. And mind you, I'm not from Cerritos. I'm from the Bermuda Triangle. I'm from the Lynwood, Compton, and Watts area. I call that the Bermuda Triangle LA Edition. And so, that being the case, I could have took my son to Lynwood, where I went to school with. I could have took him to Compton, where the other homies had their kids playing at. I could have took him to Watts, where their homies had to play at. The homies had their kids playing at. But I said, you know what? I'm going to stay in my community. I kept my son in Cerritos. He was going to Cerritos elementary schools with all those kids. And long story short, man, we stank. We stunk. We got our ass beat by every team. We was 0-9. We were 0-9. And here's the kicker. At the last game of the season, all the 0-9 teams that don't make it to the playoffs, the sorry teams play each other. So we was matched up against a team from Seal Beach. Right? Cerritos Steelers, the Cerritos Hornets versus the Seal Beach Seahawks. And the Seal Beach came in, all the white folks came in. They came in with their little bomb-ass uniforms, the real Seattle Seahawks gear. And I was like, damn, we the Hornets. I don't know what the Hornets supposed to be, but it was a little B on the side of our helmet. And it was gold and black, and we were the Cerritos Hornets. But when the Seahawks came to play us, and they hadn't won the game all year, it was the battle of the non-winning teams.
Battle of the bums.
That means somebody finna get one win this year. One of these sorry teams is going to beat the other sorry team
right.
at the end of the year. So they get all the playoffs teams over there playing. The winning teams is playing in the playoffs. They take all the teams that didn't win a game and put them against each other, and they called it a bowl game.
The losers bowl game.
It was a bowl game.
The bum bowl.
The bum bowl.
Bumbo.
The bum bowl.
The bum
That's
bowl.
exactly what it was, the bum bowl.
It was a bumble game, like a bee.
Y'all cold. Oh, y'all cold.
But the kids, but watch this though. Our kids think that they sorry than us.
Right.
And they kids saying the same thing.
Right.
They ain't won a game. Well, we ain't won a game neither.
Damn.
But we had 3 blacks on our team.
So who won? The person with the lowest score?
Yeah, the person with the lowest score definitely won. And that was us. They came in and the sorry team beat our ass. That's how sorry we was.
Right.
Wow.
Man, let me tell you something. At the end of the
All
game,
funny games as kids.
at the end of the game, we lost 6-0. We was driving down the field to tie the game up and maybe get the extra point and win. And right when we get to the 4-yard line, we fumbled the ball and they recovered it. We could have got a tie, right?
Y'all show us the bums, man.
Wait a minute. We 4 yards away from our first winning game, or at least a tie.
Wow.
We fumbled the ball and they won the game.
That's crazy.
And guess what I saw? I looked over at my son, Gerald, and he was on his knees crying, my nigga.
Am I losing that?
That was his first win he could have had in his first football season ever, and he didn't get it.
Damn.
And my son was 7 years old, and I looked over at the side at the end of the game. When the fumble happened, I looked over there, and the time wore off the clock, and I looked over, and my son was crying like a motherfucking kid.
That might have been.
He was.
That might have fed his urge
And
right
it hurt
there.
my heart so bad, homie. Like, I was like, damn, and I feel like such a loser myself because I was the damn coach. I'm like, I'm up. And guess what I did after that? I started recruiting all the homies' kids, all the homies from jail. Man, where your son at? Who he play for? Went to the hood. Where your son at? Homegirl, where your son at? Where Ronell at? Where Dante at? Where such and such at? Where such and such at? Where Lil Kenny at? You know what I'm saying? Where Lil Kyle at? You know what I'm saying? Where Cuz son at? Where Blood son at? And I went to the hood, and I went to the Triangle, and I recruited every kid that was playing for another team or didn't even play yet, and I brought them all to Cerritos. Because I was like, we ain't finna be losing like that. And the whole thing flipped from 97% white to 97% black. And then I got some coaches from the coaches coming in from the homies was coming with their kids. Mm-hmm. And that's how we built our staff at Cerritos. In that year, I changed them to the Cerritos Steelers. Kept the same colors, gold and black. And I changed it from the Hornets to the Steelers. And I bought the first set of uniforms. I invested like $5,000. I went to the board and said, check this out. You know what I'm saying? You know, I don't like this losing. That's not part of my culture. You know what I'm saying? I'm bringing in some kids. I'm bringing in some coaches this year. And what happened was I flipped the chapter from 97% white in 1 year to 97% black. And all the white people took their kids to Norwalk, Santa Fe Springs. And that's how Cerritos became a black chapter to today. If anybody know about the Cerritos Steelers, anybody that had kids playing in the Orange County Junior All-American Football League, which is a whole lot of y'all out there, Cerritos became black because I'm the one who made it black. And I turned them to the Steelers. So that's how I got started with my amateur coaching career. That's how I became Coach LA to the kids. I paid for their uniforms. I paid for their registrations. I brought all the fatherless kids and all the kids that came from the hood. You know what I'm saying? The less privileged, and I brought them to the suburbs in Cerritos, and they spent the night in my house. And they went to football practice, and I picked them up at school. You know, I had this transportation going on with these kids. Pick them up at the end of the day for school, whether they was in Lynwood, Compton, Watts, Long Beach, or wherever. And I brought them to Cerritos for football practice. I took them back home at the end of the night. And we was running line halls with kids back and forth. And that's when you came in, when we started really being there for the kids. So I've been doing this kid support thing for a long time. And now it's time to tell the story because that's just where it started.
I actually remember, I remember that. Yeah, I remember that. I remember we all used to just go out to the games just to support, you know? So I know it was good, coming home and just seeing. Cause I didn't even know. I've been gone. I went and sat down for a while. So, by those of you who don't know, sat down mean we talking about a quarter century inside the prison system. So when I came home and saw how well, your son had did, like I was happy to hear that.
Yeah.
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 For sure.
And so, Nairi,
Yes, sir.
we met in federal prison in 2000, right?
Yeah.
That was 25 years ago. That was a quarter century ago too, right?
Taft, California.
Taft, California. Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit about yourself and our relationship.
Well, as you mentioned, we met in Taft, hitting laps around the track, if you will. Whether we probably was, I don't know, smoking a little weed, talking a little business.
Mm-hmm.
Just trying to get a date up out the way. Because when I went to Taft, I was actually on my last, I think I was on my last 5 years of a 14-year sentence. I'd been down, for quite a few years, so I was just kind of like, just in the downstroke, man, just ready to get it over with. So, we connected. At the time, my mind had kind of like been through the system for some years, So I kind of like shook the normal way of doing time, if you will, how you come in from the hood, from the set, hanging out with the homies all the time, doing this and that and that and that. Then eventually, you branch off, because one of my goals when I was in jail is I didn't want to get out doing the same thing I did when I was before I was incarcerated. So, a lot of people used to, try to connect with the plugs and stuff, if you will, like the dope man, because in the feds, there's a lot of plugs up in there.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. A lot of people had a lot of dope.
The best of the best.
A lot of white collar crimes.
Best of the best.
You know what I'm saying? Best of the best.
Best attorneys.
People got away with a lot of slick stuff. Best attorneys. I mean.
The best accountants.
I done ran across accountants. And still, deal with some people from the feds, millionaires.
Yep.
A couple of billionaires.
Yep.
I done hung out with a couple of billionaires. We cool, chop it up. One thing about it, in the feds, everybody can only spend the same amount of money at the canteen a month.
Ain't that something, right?
We was all on the same level, man.
So it was like a college.
Yeah.
The feds,
that's all it was, a college, man.
Yeah. Am I right?
Yeah, I use that as a college mechanism opposed to a bad thing. So
what makes it a college? Say more. 'Cause I did state time. So
the reason is the reason I feel like it's a college is because the fact that you do got a lot of people around there that are educated people, for one, and you can learn a lot from them along with other things that are within the institution. For instance, library. I know that they do have a library in the state, because I've been to the state in the feds now, unfortunately. But when I was in the feds, it was just like more. It was just more available in terms of education, more game around. It was just more information that you could just pick up and just learn and just run from and learn in life, opposed to being in the state. Most people in the state sit back, sports homies from the hood, sit back and play cards. Dominoes, play a lot of sports. Politics, be into a lot of gang activities and stuff like that. And, it's like, in the state, to me, it was like more of a survival. It's all about, you got to really like, you got to be careful. You came short with your life up in there if you, get into the wrong mix, the wrong joint, around the wrong idiots. So it's like, that was kind of like my experience. I always kind of like, just kind of was balanced all the way through prisons, so I didn't want to get caught up in the riff-raff of that. So when I was in there, I targeted people like, people who was on different levels, who ran businesses and who worked for 500 Fortune companies, who was a part of different Ponzi schemes of the world and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Although I wasn't there to learn the information that they had as far as bad, I was always had in my mind that I wanted to learn the good that they had.
Right.
So
how you can apply it to your own life or your
right,
own
how can apply? Because something about
Yeah, I do that.
No,
for
homie.
sure.
yeah, I just
No,
want to do
that's
good.
smart.
I didn't want to get out doing wrong,
Listen.
man, because I was just
Yeah.
tired at
No,
that
that's
point.
smart. That's
Real,
smart.
real
though.
talk. My version of that,
Yeah.
remember now, mind you, you've been to the state only. I've been to the feds only twice.
Right.
He been to both.
Y'all been both.
So he know the difference that you're asking about.
Right. And also,
And I don't know about the state.
So,
Right.
so I do want to say this. Like, I got to just give a shout out to. I don't even remember like half of these brothers, man. But when I first got to Lancaster, I've never seen a yard ran as more organized
For
than the
Lancaster?
Muslim brothers on that yard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Back in '97.
yeah, I
when
never
I got
stopped at
there,
Lancaster.
They was bro. They was. I felt like they had little sections like it's like you would get invited in, and so once you get in and get invited in, they had these rooms where you can just go get educated.
Yeah.
Like I learned the truth about our history from a black man on the prison tier. You know what
right.
I'm saying? Like
Right. It's a lot of knowledge in
it's
jail,
a lot
man.
of knowledge, brother. So
That's what we meant about college and
but
jail.
they do got the especially when they had the weight pal, everybody just out there buffing. You know, I was one of them dudes at one point.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Just on the workout. You know what I'm saying? But then you learn how to start to apply your mind.
Yeah, what do y'all
Yeah.
think about them
Yeah.
taking the prison bars out the prison systems? Y'all think that was a good thing or bad thing?
Talking about the weights.
Yeah. The weights, because I mean, it's one thing about jail. They always take away something. Either they're gonna take the bars, they're gonna stop smoking cigarettes,
Yeah.
they're gonna stop colors up in there. They're gonna make it to where you can't have a certain amount of copies. The food is gonna be limited.
Yeah.
You know, the salt ain't gonna be in certain spots. It's just like everything is just. When I was in there for a year after year, I couldn't believe it as to how much stuff that they can actually take from you when you ain't got nothing. I'm like, we ain't got
you
nothing
already ain't got nothing. You
Take
want
what
that
else can y'all
extra-
take?
You want some of that.
I couldn't believe it, man.
Right.
I mean, take a sheet. You got an extra sheet, extra blanket. Man, they
me
just
get
want to
that.
strip you down and break you down and just have you like,
Yeah.
Yeah, well.
like, you know what I'm saying? And that's one reason I've always I never wanted to go to jail. Although I'm not gonna lie, I did go back to jail. I went back to prison. I went twice. But when I was it took me about 5 years to really warm up to another crime. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
But I've always, I put it like this. Long story short, going to prison deterred me from wanting to go back to prison. A lot of people don't do that too.
Right.
Because I know a lot of people go back. Recidivism is running rapid in this country.
Let me
Yeah.
ask you this. How much does mental health play a part of that? In other words, you use the term, I don't want to go back.
Right.
I don't want to go back neither.
Right.
But I've been back twice to the feds, and I got a case pending right now. I don't want to go back, but maybe something wrong with me. I don't know.
I don't think it's just
I ain't
mental.
go back.
Listen to me, homie.
Yeah,
Listen, give
no,
me
I
a
hear
little
Right.
time to vent.
Mm-hmm.
Cause you know me.
Come on.
I'm about to be 60 years old.
Yeah.
And sometimes I catch myself really with a criminal mind, like, and I'm looking, but I'm a grown ass man with grandkids. My mama 95 years old, bro. You know what I'm saying? The last thing I need to do is let my family down once again. But I catch myself sometime, and I don't do drugs or nothing. But no, you see drug addicts, and we try to figure out why they keep doing it. They know it's ruining their life, but it's an addiction.
It's an addiction. Yeah.
So do y'all agree there's different kinds of addictions?
So I've been home. October 29th to be my 11th year home, right?
Okay.
And so when they first dropped me off at the halfway house, I hit the corner. It's piles of trash on the corner. The prostitutes out on the corner. Pull up. That's the spot next door, right?
Yeah.
Okay, damn. The drug spot right next door. I'm like, my first thought was who the players in this city, because I need to find out who got the pistols.
Okay.
Right. And so, but what I realized what I was doing, I was really just trying to meet a need, right? On some real shit. I was trying to meet a need, and I need to feel safety. And the way I felt safety was I kept mine on my hip, right? Because I'm not the kind of dude that like running. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, so but I just signed the trigger lock law. so that means I'm on life parole. If I go back for life.
Yeah.
It's not an option for me at that point. Right? And so what I do is stop putting myself in situations, right? And then when I think it's like, why am I thinking that thought? I'm thinking that thought for a reason,
Yeah.
right? And not to say it's bad, but in the way, we used to get our money easy, man.
Yeah, I mean, for real.
Like, and so sometimes it ain't a time, like, I ain't admitting to nothing, but it ain't a time that I pull up to, you pull up and you see that Brinks truck pull up next to you, and you be like,
Yeah.
We all had that thought.
So was that mental?
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
No,
Is it mental?
well, what I'm saying is that because we
Maybe.
conditioned ourselves to be that way, bro, for a long time. We was doing that. We was doing all kind of crazy stuff for such a long time.
Yeah.
We didn't care, and then we haven't really taken the time to heal that,
Yeah.
right? And it's hard to heal it when you still in the midst of all the stuff. That's why I moved away for a little while. That's why I didn't want to come back, homie. It's like we talking about the way, pal, right?
Right.
I know what it's gonna feel like. As soon as I come home, the homies find out I'm home. I got 50 dudes on my doorstep pulling at me, big home, cuz back on the block, all like that. I didn't want to face that because I knew that I had love for that.
Got you.
So I had to go build my strength up, homie, because
Yeah.
I got to do me first.
Yeah.
Because if I don't do me, I can't do nothing for nobody else.
So that's why you paroled
That's
from
why I paroled to the Bay.
to Northern California.
Exactly.
Being a
Yeah.
Southern
'Cause
California
I didn't want to come back out
native,
here
right?
where I'm known at.
Crippin' in
I'm
blood
known.
generation.
I can't be on a bus stop.
Yeah, a lot of lifers are
Okay, so
paroled
you
to
didn't
the
come
Bay.
back to the turf then.
No.
Yeah, they still doing
No.
that too. I just didn't want to.
That makes sense though.
Yeah.
I
I had
just-
to do me, homie. I
So-
did a
Right.
quarter century. I ain't doing no more.
So my thing
Yeah.
was, is it a mental thing? Because remember he said, I don't want to go back. Don't nobody want to go back.
I
But
know.
it's just some shit
I don't
you
want
just
to go
can't
back,
help.
man. I know.
I'm asking.
Is it
you
what?
can help it.
You can help
Yeah,
it.
you
You
can
just
help
gotta
it.
know how.
You can help it. You
I
can
thought
help
I
it.
was a pretty smart dude.
You
But
are smart.
like sometimes I
You
catch
smart, but you
myself
dumb,
like,
too.
like want to say fuck.
You gotta just realize you're
No,
smart, but you
no,
dumb.
sometimes,
I'm just keeping it clean.
listen, I'm doing good. I'm doing good for myself.
Right.
Don't even get it twisted. Son, they went to the NFL, all that shit. Got two other sons, a daughter, a couple of 9 grandkids. My mama, 95 years old. My sister's an ex-correctional officer. My brother, my other sister, ex-correctional officer, rested in peace. You know what I'm saying? I'm living in the suburbs of Rancho Cucamonga right now. You know what I'm saying? I got a business. But sometimes I be like, man, fuck this shit. Because there's so much going on. You turn on the TV, everybody snitching. Everybody doing this. Everybody doing that. Niggas, hey, homie.
You know what they say?
Hey, I'm old school, and this shit make me sick. That's a whole another chapter we can go into in a minute.
Right.
Cause I'm angry about some shit that I shouldn't even give a fuck about.
Me too.
Oh, you too?
Hell yeah.
Well, what?
I'm angry about snitches took over, but I can't do nothing about that. I lost the war. I wrote a book on snitches.
Didn't we have an episode on the Big Homie podcast?
Yeah, we did.
Wait a minute. What's the podcast name?
The Big Homie podcast.
Well, anyway, on your podcast, we had an episode about what?
About snitches.
About
believe.
snitches?
Yeah, because I mean, my podcast, it's not about snitches, but it reads my books. I pretty much read my books, and then I have a few interviews every now and then. And my subject matter, my books are about, which the titles are, Gangsta Jake, the end result of a snitch. So, this dude, he was a serial snitch killer. So, I mean, that was really my thing at one time. I really hated snitches with a passion. But at a certain point, you just got to realize, man, you can't win every damn war, man. You got to let it go. You got to fight your battles, and some you just got to let them go, man. So, after getting out of prison, man, even before I got out of prison, man, I just stopped tripping on that point, man, on people, whatever they do. It's like, I ain't going to condone it to be around it or nothing like that, but it's just like, I just can't fight that battle no more. You know what I'm saying? Because there's so many of them. They won. They won.
like I
It
said,
ain't like we've lost the war.
I get mad
The
about
war
shit
is lost.
that I shouldn't give a fuck about. I'm passionate. You see, I talk loud than the motherfucker.
Look, even though what I said,
I
man,
talk too goddamn much, really.
them people didn't won, man. Listen, but all I'm saying is, we got to learn to let go. We got to learn to get past things, and we got to learn to just live for the betterment of us, man. We got for our mental.
I think that it all goes back to our mental.
It's about mental, man.
But it also go back to the mental of the community too. Even though, and I know your thing be about the snitches, but I think your book is way more profound than just talking about snitches. Homie.
Yeah,
like
true
for
that.
real, homie.
True
like
that.
you got levels.
It
You got
started off
levels
that
in
way.
there. You're a much deeper writer, homie.
Right. It started off.
Yeah.
It started off with snitches, and then he went from snitches to he wanted to put together a national peace treaty among the Bloods and Crips. You know, so it grew, it evolved, it elevated from one level to the next level. And I actually grew with the books. When I first wrote my first book, I had been told on. You know, I had a bank robbery back in '93. One of my homeboys got up on the witness stand, snitched on me, and I was really mad.
Yeah.
You know, so I was pissed at him. That's probably what's triggered me to hate snitches so bad. See, a lot of people know what a snitch is, but they never really felt the snitch until they get on the witness stand and point you straight out. One of your homies that you done smoked blunts with and hung out with females with.
Like
and
Lynn,
Brown.
right?
Yeah, Lynn too. That's a snitching matter too. But I'm talking about when it's somebody from your set that you run with, the homie, and you know what I'm saying? We done planned this thing together, and you know, they was more culpable than me. I was just, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, you know, bank robberies was, you know, we done them, but it wasn't really my thing. I was selling dope out of town, robbing motherfuckers in the neighborhoods, and you know what I'm saying, other different things. You know, I really wasn't a bank robber, but you know, we did a few, and it turned out cool. So, boom, there it was. But I never thought that it would come down to one of my co-defendants, if you will, crimey, straight selling me out to the prosecutor over here in Orange County right now. Well, we're in Orange County
Right now. Yeah.
Yeah, man. So I got a lot of history in Orange County, man. So yeah, I do got a lot of history in Orange County.
Don't we all?
Yeah, but anyway, man. Yeah, thinking about that, it just kind
Some
of
things will not be spoken.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, OC, man. I got a lot of history on OC, man. And I mean, good and bad.
We do
man.
too, huh?
But we do too, absolutely. and maybe that bring me to like the next question, right?
There you
Like
go.
like we all like writing books about our lives or movies. We moving into the film like industry now, right?
Yes, sir.
Tell us about your project.
So anyway, chapter 2, first chapter was about the kids. I'm going to federal prison in 1998 for hijacking trucks and hijacking warehouses and doing high-tech robberies. And this is what I was doing to buy the football uniforms for the kids. I was kind of like a Robin Hood. So I told y'all about this father, this passionate father, this son, this chapter, this buying football uniforms. But the only way I was able to afford that, it was because of my crime of choice. So anyway, I'm a truck driver, driving for many different freight companies. And I come across an extra box of something, an extra box of computer components one day. And when I came across those extras about computer components, I didn't know what they were. This was in the late 80s, getting ready to be 90, you know what I mean? And I came across what you call a tape backup drive. They don't even make them no more in the era of iPhone and Android, but whatever a tape backup drive was back then, I came up with an extra box of them, and I fenced them off to an Asian cat who actually told me what they were and that he would give me money for them. And he said that he would give me $100 per take-up drive, per take backup drive, right? And I had one box, so I'm thinking, okay, I'm gonna give me $100. You know, it's cool. You know, $100. You know, I'm at work. I ain't making $100 an hour. So I give it to him, make it a regular delivery, one extra box. He tells you give me cash for it. So I went on and gave it to him. Boom. He comes out with $2,000 and he give it to me. Now he told me $100, but he said, "Oh yeah, $100 each. It's 20 in the box." I mean, what is this right here? It's a tape backup computer. You don't even know. Computers are going to be the next thing going. Now, mind y'all, this is in 1989. The tape backup drive, and then, you know, if you ever see something called a RAM chip, if you ever see anything called an Intel, if you see anything with a Mac store, if you see anything with Seagate, if you see anything with Samsung, bring it all to me. I'm like, damn, all that shit is on the dock.
So I've been having this, huh? Right.
And after that, I kept stealing shit off the dock every day. Every day I throw one extra box, though. 2 extra boxes. They let us load our old trucks. Get your little manifest,
It's
load
old
your
school.
little 5 boxes. I would throw 6.
Old school way.
You know what I mean? Go get your shit. Hey, pallet, tell the forklift dude, hey, go get that pallet for me. It's going to Costa Mesa. because my route was in Costa Mesa. But that pallet wasn't going to Costa Mesa. So he didn't ask no question. He dropped the other pallet on my truck. I'll pull up with my boy, get my little 10,000. So 2,000 turned into 10, and 10 turned into 50, and 50 turned into 70. That's how I bought my house to Cerritos. That's how I made it to Cerritos. You know what I'm saying? That's how we became the Cerritos Steelers. Because I was doing that shit. I was stealing at my job as a truck driver. Feel me? And that turned into stealing one box here, stealing one box there, stealing one pallet here, stealing one pallet there. Homies going to knock off warehouses because I was the inside man. So anyway, my life story is called Freight. And it's about my life as a coach and my life as a father, how I became a truck driver, how I started doing these heists, how I put the homies on from the turf, how we was going and knocking down warehouses. We was setting up licks. We was hijacking trucks. We was stealing freight. And I went to federal prison for that. That's what I went to federal prison for. Because once they caught up to me, it was time for me to go do my time. And that's how I came up. I got a whole screenplay. It's about my life. As all these different people that I am, the coach, the father, the son, you know what I'm saying, the hijacker, the homie from the hood, and the educated person, which I became really when I went to federal prison and walking the track with the best attorneys, the best doctors, the best accountants, the best stock market associates, and so on and so forth. So when we talked about the feds being a college, it was a college to me because that's the only place that I've been. So I learned a lot about corporations. I learned a lot about when I come home, I'm gonna start my LLC. When I come home, I'm gonna do this. I learned a lot. Even the NFL draft, when my son went through the whole little college thing where I was going, and I came home in this last year at Boise State, and we got drafted to the Detroit Lions in the '07 draft, and I got all that on footage, and I said, you know what, I'm gonna make a movie about this. And so that's how I came up with the script and the life story and my screenplay called Freight. And it's about my life and what I've been doing to get here. And so right now we getting ready to go into production with that, and that's where I'm at right now in 2025.
That's what's up. Yeah.
What you think?
I think it's gotta go.
Gotta go?
Yeah, make it go, man. It's push go.
Yeah.
It's all
Let's
about
go.
executing, man. We know
You know,
success is based on, constantly doing it again.
right? I mean, we
just gotta keep
right
doing
there.
it.
We right there with.
I wouldn't have been able to walk around on track with no white boys that was accounting in the state, home. You know that. You know what I mean? The homies in the feds like, oh, dog, do your thing. I was walking around the track with the white boys. I was walking around the track with the Asians. I was walking around the track with the Italians. I was walking around the track with people who wasn't from my community. Because I was up in there soaking up so much game, so much knowledge. And I said, this is what I'm going to do when I get home. I'm about to do movies. You know what I mean? Even film producers was up in there. Money launderers was up in there. You know what I'm saying? So it was a different vibe than the state. Like I said, you've been to the state. I haven't. But I had the freedom to be who I needed to be and learn what I needed to learn without the politics. Cuz, what you doing over there with them? Cuz, what you doing over there with them? You know, I didn't go through that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's why I said it was like college.
I broke myself off a while ago, man, from that, man, because it's like, you walk off so many decades by yourself, bruh. It's like, I'm just good, man. I got to do what's best for me and mine.
Yes.
Because ain't nobody else going to do it.
That's right.
And my thing is, too, I be wanting to put back. We got to put back into, in our community, like in a real way.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I know, the projects you're working on can do that.
Yeah.
Right. I know the projects I'm working on can do that. The brothers, I hope people go read his book. I really hope people go read his book because the brother is prolific.
Yeah.
I don't even think he realized how prolific he is, but he's really it's levels to his thinking, in the book.
Yes, sir.
And just like with the film, that's how the film project got to come out too.
Yeah.
The levels to that, like you say, the father, the homie,
The coach.
the coach,
The son.
the truck driver.
The truck driver,
And by the way, this
juvenile
homie,
delinquent.
did I say that earlier? I don't know. We talked about it here earlier, but this homie taught me how to drive trucks. I drove trucks for damn near a year without a license, and when they pulled me over, they took They took me and the truck. Homie was pissed.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, what you thought?
So what you thought, nigga? I ain't had no
What you
driver
thought?
license. You got me
I ain't
driving
had
an 18-wheeler, huh?
Driving around an 18-wheeler. I was out in 22.
Yeah, you was 22, but
Yeah.
the thing was is that when you get off that freeway, get off that 405, oh, excuse me, on we had the office, remember? You get off the freeway
Yep.
at Manchester, 405 North, and you would have to go left and then make a right on La Cienega and then make a right back on Florence to get to where our building was at. But if you cut straight through with that sign that says no trucks, like a lot of people try to take that shortcut. I know what happened.
But I didn't try to do that. I seriously did. I missed the turn, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna keep going, and then the road cars started getting thinner and thinner, and I'm like, oh, I gotta bust a special U-turn.
Yeah.
And so I backed that joke up. It was sweet though.
Ew.
It backed all in between the cars. I bust a whole little U-turn on the street that a big rig should not be able to bust a U-turn on.
Wow.
But I executed it with perfection. However,
the
highway patrol was sitting right there and pulled me over. And I gave my driver's license, and he looked at me. He was like, hey, it's funny when you look back on some of the dumb stuff you've done, right? Right. He looked at me like, no.
Yeah.